Hi guys, so this is the last video of quiz 10, right? So the first question says 100 rand is invested at 6.5% per annum compounded continuously for 3.5 years, and they are asking us how much it will accumulate to. When they ask you such an easy question, just know that they love you guys. So just use your FV is equal to PV e to the power of JT. Your FV is 100 e to the power of 3.5. Remember, half years is 1/2. 1/2 into years is plus 3 is 3.5. And my interest rate is 6.5%. And your value shall be 3.5 times 6.5%. Please don't make the mistake of closing this first bracket, because your answer is going to be wrong. Remember, this calculator is not the basic calculator that we know of. So if you close the bracket, you are saying you are done you are done inserting what you want e to be raised to. So open another bracket, then close two brackets. Okay, and that will give you 125.55. Okay, the next question says an amount of money is invested at 8%. 8% per annum compounded monthly. After 15 months, the interest rate increases to 9.6% compounded quarterly for a further 9 months. The equivalent rate of interest compounded continuously over the 2-year period is equal to. So basically, what they are asking for might seem hard, but it is not if you put it on a timeline, right? Financial maths is really about timelines. So we don't know what the amount of money is, right? But we do know that it's at C0 and it's X. So they tell me that an amount of money, we'll call it X. So X is invested at 8% per annum compounded monthly, right? So after 15 months, the interest rate changes. So from T0 all the way to T15, I will have my X compounded at I12 is equal to 8% over 12. Right, per month. Okay, and they tell me that so at this particular point, the amount of money that I invested into this is worth X1 plus 8% over 12 to the power of 15, because it's 15 months later, right? So now they tell me that after 15 months, right, the interest rate changes and it is now compounded quarterly. So we have a new timeline T0 and it is compounded quarterly for a further 9 months. 9 divided by 3 is 3, right? So N is 3. So for the 9 months, in the 9 months we have 3 quarters. N is equal to 3. So this will be transferred to my PV and it's X1 plus 8% over 12 to the power of 15. This whole amount will be compounded with interest all the way to an amount we do not know for now because we haven't read the whole question. So just said that this is 3, right? So this whole amount will be compounded for 3 months, for 3 quarters. So the FV is actually equal to this whole amount, right? Sorry, been busy with these videos for the whole day. I'm so tired. I'm tired of talking, you guys. But anyways, we push, guys. I really want to see you guys prospering, and you know, you have to move test 5, please. We have to move test 5 actually. We need to redefine what it means to be in university, right? Let's chow the test, please. So we have X1 plus 8% over 12 to the power of 15. This whole amount is compounded for 3 periods. 1 plus 9.6% over 4, and it is compounded for 3 periods. So this is what my FV is. So what the question is now asking is, what is the equivalent rates of interest compounded continuously over the entire 2-year period. So from T0 all the way to F, what is my I? So what you have to do is to say that if I compound this X for 2 years with an interest rate I1, it will give me this amount. So let's do that. So if I compound X, I will get this whole amount. So if I compound it for 2 years, it will give me whatever this amount is. So I write that plus 8% over 12 to the power of 15 times 1 plus 9.6% over 4 to the power of 3. So if I compound this X for 2 years, it will give me this amount, right? Cool. So if you check, the X's cancel. We had a similar question in test 4. So whenever you do not have an amount, give it an amount, give it X, so that you still apply your rules. Put it on your timeline. Go to F, even if there's no amount, put it as X. It will come out, it will cancel at the end of the day. As you guys saw, in this case, it just canceled out, right? And then, yeah, so you can solve for I2. So you will have 1 plus 8% divided by 12 to the power of 15 times 1 plus 9.6% divided by 4 to the power of 3, right? To the power of, so this whole answer is to the power of 1 divided by 2 minus 1 times 100. So I1 is 8,9162. Just want to check before we continue that I did not make any mistakes. Yes. So store this under B. So shift RCL B. Remember they asked for the let's just come back here to our question. They asked for the equivalent rate of interest compounded continuously. So to convert my IN to J, I use the equivalence formula for J, right? And the equivalence formula says e to the power of J is equal to 1 plus IN to the power of N. So e to the power of J in this case is equal to 1 plus B%, this percent, to the power of 1. So J is equal to ln, right? That's how we remove an E. So we have ln of 1 plus B%. So we have ln 1 plus B%, which times 100 times 100, which gave me 8.54% per annum. So yeah, that is how you're supposed to do number 8. Okay, we still have some time. I'll do question 4. I did not write the question down because it's too long. So I'll just read the questions to you all, and yeah. So for question 4, we are told that an amount of 50,000 is invested in a project that predicts the quarterly cash flow return, the following cash flow return for the next 4 years. Number 1 is not given, so when you go to your calculator, you put 0. Number 2 is given as 1,500 all the way to number 6. Number 7 is not given, so when you go to your calculator, you put it as 0. Number 10 is given, number 11 is given, number 12 is given, number 13 is given, 14, 15 is given, and we are asked to solve for X, right? So let us do just that. So the first thing you have to do is to write your NPV function. Okay, first things first, you need to do your timeline. So let's just represent this information in the timeline. Hopefully you guys are following, because there's no question this time around that I wrote. So at T0, you have negative 50K. T1, you have 0. T2, you have 1,500. T3, 3K. T4, 4.5K. T5, 5,000, 5.6K. All the way until you get to T16, where we are looking for X, right? So as I said, the first thing you have to do is to write your NPV function. So NPV is equal to, so when they say net present value, they are saying bring every single cash flow backwards with interest to T0. So you at T0 you have negative 50,000, and you will bring back the 1,500 with its interest, right? Okay, before we continue, the question continues to say that the IRR of this cash flow is 21.32%. Remember that we only use the internal rate of return when my NPV is equal to 0. So make this NPV equal to 0, and on my RRR I'm going to use this interest rate. However, we have a problem. Our IRR is actually per annum, so I need to now change it into quarterly, into a quarterly IRR. So I have 1 plus 21.32%, which is my RRR, is equal to 1 plus I4 to the power of 4. So my I4 is actually equal to 1 plus 21.32% to the power of 1 divided by 4 minus 1 times 100. So we have 4.9501%. Store it under A. Shift store A. So I will have A%. Bring it back with 2 periods. Have the 3,000. Bring it back with interest, right? For 3 periods. And I will do that until I get to the last one. Okay, so as I said, you'll bring every single cash flow back with interest, which is what we did right here. You guys may pause the video and look at what I did. So we shall equate this whole thing to 0. So this will be equal to 0. And then you'll bring everything this side, solve for X. These are all values, solve for X. You guys should know how to do that. And then you'll find that X is actually equal to 9101.19. Please do it on your calculator and tell me if you get the same value in the comment section below. Okay, that's our X, right? So our interest, the bank rate, remember the IRR is the rate at which you use when your NPV is equal to 0. However, when they are now asking about the bank rate and they are telling you that your NPV is 4,500, so assume that NPV is equal to 4,500. Calculate the bank rate. Bank rate. So all you have to do is to say the 50,000, the initial investment, plus the 4,500, which will give you 54,500, and you multiply it by -1 and you get negative 54,500. Put this as your initial investment. All the other, okay, let me show you on the calculator how you're supposed to do that. So you press the cash button, right? So you press cash, edit, and you put all your values, all the values that you have right here. So make sure everything is cleared. So you will have negative 54,500. Okay, first of all, you need to clear your calculator, right? So cash button, negative 54,500, right? The second cash flow is 0. The third one is 1,500. So make sure you don't make silly mistakes when you are putting into the calculator. 4,500, 5,600, 5,900, 6,400, 6,600, 7,200. No. Oh my goodness, I hate it when I make a mistake because I have to go back. Okay, wait, okay, so after 6,400, no, before 6,400, so after 5,900, I need to have, okay, a 0 and a 0, then a 6,400, 6,600, 7,200, 7,800, 8,000, and your X value, which is 9,101.19058886, right? Okay, and then you press cash again, and then you press IRR. It's gonna take some time to load, but yeah, let's just wait for it. Yo, imagine this happens in, like, they are saying 5 minutes left in the exam, and this thing is taking its own time, and then it gives us the wrong answer. This always happens, you guys. Yeah, ne? Minus 54,000. Let me just check if I inserted everything correctly. 5,000. 5,900. 0, 0, 6,400. So when you make a mistake, clear your memory and start afresh. Let's see if it gives me the right answer. Minus 54,500, 1,500, 3,000, 4,500, 5,600, 5,900, 0, 0, 6,400, 6,600, 7,200, 7,800, 8,000, 9,101.190586. Okay guys, it seems like we are getting the same answer, 2.05. Yeah, that's the answer. So you need to multiply this answer by 4 and becomes 8 comma something. So to check if your answer is right, just solve for NPV and check if it gives you 4,500. Oh, there it goes, giving me 4,500, which is our NPV value. So whenever you solve for a bank rate, just check to see if it gives you 4,500 or not. So guys, that brings us to the end of our preparation. I am so happy that we could cover a lot of content. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. You guys are much appreciated. Good luck for test 5. You guys are going to chow that test. I see it. I believe in you. I see it from all of you. So please, chow that paper. Chow it. Give it no chance. Right? So bye guys.